Hi, this is Katie from Crafting Ruby Dreams and welcome back to my channel. This is where I talk about planning, writing, and pursuing my dreams of publication. Thank you for joining me. I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of when I add new videos to the channel. Please also hit that like button so that YouTube knows that you have found the information in this useful and will recommend it to other people. Today I am talking about mid-quarter updates as to my quarterly goals that I use the HB90 method for. HB90 method is a method that was developed by YA author Sarra. She talks about it a lot on her Heart Breathings channel. That's where the HB comes from. It's HB as in heart breathings. The 90 is to refer to the fact that it is quarterly and it's a goal setting system. Sarra does a lot of things with the HB90 system, but she focuses on developing 3 primary goals for you to focus on during the course of the quarter. Sometimes she does add in a 4th goal, but 2 to 3 goals is the most effective, seems to be. You can absolutely just focus on 1 goal if that is your super hard driving primary thing. That is not a problem. I first signed up for Sarra's bootcamp when she introduced this in 2018. I think I might have been in the first class. I really appreciated the concept of it and I tried to apply it, but due to various things that happened, I just fell off the rails quickly with it, unfortunately. But it's always been in the back of my mind as to how I want to think about goal setting. And so when she restructured the bootcamp class to be a week-long class instead of a 3-day class, long weekend, she offered it up to alumni, which I am one, and I retook the class and it was really great. I think the week-long format allows you enough space to really truly dig in to what your vision of the future is, which not everybody is great at doing, and that's fine. It's just something to consider. But really dig into what goals I want to have. And really, honestly, Sarra tries to get you to think far into the future, but not everybody's a futuristic person. So if you can even think 1 month into the future, which again, not everyone can, and especially these days, it's really hard to predict where you want to be other than safe and healthy. But it is a great way to discover what your why is. That's another thing about planning and goal setting, is that a lot of people want you to figure out why you are doing something. I am still working on my why because I know it has changed, not only since I first defined it back in my 20s, but it's also changed in the last 6 months. So I'm rediscovering parts of myself as well as seeing parts of myself that have grown in the background. So the last few months have been very interesting for me. But so you develop a vision of your future, what you want to be aiming for, the type of life you want to be leading. And then you distill that into what goals are going to get you on the path to that future that you see for yourself. So you really dig into what you want to be doing and how you want to be living your life. Then you start developing projects to work towards those goals. So Sarra breaks it down. You have overarching goals with quantitative aspects to it. They're not quite SMART goals, but they're very close to the SMART goals because there's no specific time attached except for the fact that this is your goal for this quarter. So there are dates attached to specific tasks. So you have the goals, then you have the projects that work towards those goals, and then you have the tasks within each project. So that's how she breaks all of this down. And another aspect of Sarra's system is the Kanban board. She uses and encourages the use of a physical board, but if you don't have the space for a physical board, like I just have the space for a physical board, and you'll see how close of a space it is. But if you don't have the space for one, or you're just not a paper and pen person, then digital products are out there for your use, like Asana and Trello and systems like that. So that's the basic system. As you go on and work through your various tasks and projects and goals, she has created a planner to support the system. I don't particularly use the planner in full because it's just a digital download, and I like my paper planners to be pre-bound for me. What I do use in the planner that she has provided are the weekly and monthly check-in sheets. It really is good it has been good for me to check in weekly to see, am I on the road to what I want to be doing for the month, for the quarter, and so on and so forth. Because it's like I do try to check back in, see where I am throughout the week, but very often I set my to-do list for the week and set my planner, and then I don't look at what the overall plan is until it's Sunday again. It's something that I'm still trying to figure out how to best use my planner for. The review sheets are absolutely worth it, and so I definitely recommend those. So getting into, since this is the quarterly update video, what were my goals at the beginning of the quarter, since I'm just launching this channel, and so I had no reason to talk at the beginning of the quarter what my goals were. So what were my goals? All right, so my goals for quarter 3 2020 were: number 1, develop a consistent writing habit by writing for 1 hour per day on 45/50/55% of my designated work days in order to work towards supplementing my income by 50%. The 45/50/55%, that is the good, better, best. So if I hit the lower end, the 45%, that is my good. And then if I hit 50, that's even better. And 55% is the best of what I could have envisioned for myself at the beginning of the quarter. And then goal 2 was develop a creative outlet that allows me to learn at least 3 new skills and create new connections by growing my Crafting Ruby Dreams Instagram account to 100/120/150 followers and YouTube account to 10/15/25 subscribers. And then goal 3 was spend time focusing on my personal development and creating an environment that positively supports my mental health. I will measure this by giving myself an average daily score of 3/4/4.5 out of 5. So to dig in a little deeper, goal 1 was specifically targeted at my writing career and my career writing fiction. That's what I had in mind when crafting that particular goal. Goal 2 is very obviously about crafting Ruby Dreams, and the launch of this channel was part of that. And then goal 3 is just focusing on my personal development and mental health, because that is something I need to work on. And it was very important for me to use this quarter especially to help create a solid foundation for moving forward in my life. What has changed since the beginning of the quarter with these goals? First off, my writing habit, I am adjusting how I quantify that, because I had totally forgotten about the writing for 1 hour per day and shooting for that percentage of my designated work days. I think that is a reasonable and was an absolutely reasonable goal, because I had not written since I did start writing again this month. But the last time I had regularly written fiction was October of 2019. I very purposefully in January of this year decided to take time off from writing and to not worry about trying to write. If I wrote, great, but it was not something that I was going to worry about trying to do. There were a lot of reasons that fed into that particular decision, and pandemic was not one of them, surprisingly enough, because I could not see that far into the future. But when the pandemic did happen, I was very pleased with myself in that I already had taken that particular pressure off my plate. And so I knew that come August, when I had told myself I would try writing again, I would have had the time to adjust myself to what being in a pandemic was like. I unknowingly gave myself a lot of breathing room and a lot of adjustment period that I didn't know I would need. So, but I am also adjusting how I think about the story, and I need to change how I quantify some things, because this is the story that I've been writing and working on last fall. I now need to go back to one of the reasons why I had stopped writing last fall. So I did not fully address that during my time off of actual writing. So that's where I stand with goal 1 in general. And goal 2, the only thing that has changed with regards to this is that I've added a Patreon account. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon, I am there as Crafting Ruby Dreams. And so I did add that my goal is to grow that particular channel to 5 is my good goal, paid patrons. 10 is my better, and 25 is my best. So I hope you'll consider supporting me over there as well. And then goal 3, overall, goal 3 hasn't really changed, but I am rethinking how I want to do the scoring in the future. I think I will continue this for the end of the quarter, but Sarah has also been working through how to do a personal goal and how to quantify the achievements of that personal goal. And this quarter, she came up with a rubric of if she does X, she gets 1 point for this. If she does that, she gets 1 point, and so on and so forth. And so I like the idea of that as well. Part of it is for her, and you can see this in her videos on the Heart Breathings channel. She wants to create daily habits, and so these are things that she wants to do every day, or at least most days. And so I don't know if that's something I want to do, but I also want to give myself, basically gamify it, give myself points for reading a nonfiction book, attending therapy, watching instructional videos, and digging deeper into a topic and spending a certain amount of time doing something, things like that. And so I'm not specifically changing anything at this point with goal 3, but that's where I am right now with that. I'm now going to go show you the status of the Kanban board and talk a little bit about first how I created it, and secondly how I am doing with progress of it, and thirdly what I think of it and whether or not a Kanban board is actually working for me. So just one moment. So here is the setup of my Kanban board. Unfortunately, it's really tight space because I live in a studio apartment, and the thing is that this particular wall there's my kitchen and there's my closet area. And this was the only space available for me to put up a Kanban board. And to take the greatest advantage of the space, I just put up washi, which is wonton in a million and simply gilded. So that's all I use to create this on this board. And my labels, I just created them in Canva and printed them out and laminated them with my laminator. So that's all I did, and then I attached them using washi tape to minimize the amount of paint it might take off. So let's go ahead and put that back up. This is my Kanban board. So up top we have the to-do section for goal 1, goal 2, and goal 3. Then we have my doing for goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, and the done for goal 1, goal 2, and goal 3. So those sticky notes on the side are primarily things that just did not get done, but they were time bound for a particular week, and they're mainly therapy appointments that I had to cancel or miss or whatever. So as you can see, the majority of the sticky notes that are still up waiting to be done are my goal 1, my writing goals. And that was because I just didn't start writing fiction until August 2nd. I did have another project that was related to my prior fiction writing alter ego, and I still have a newsletter that I send out to fans of that particular pen name. And so I have been consistently writing and sending out newsletters for that, but that was a relatively small project. All of these waiting to be done are particular days. That's how I broke it down. Some people may break down their post-it notes to for every 1,000 words that they write, and others do like every 2,000 words, because Sarra encourages you to put on post-it notes things that are relatively discrete and easy to accomplish, so they're not hanging out for a long while in your doing section and overwhelming you with them not being done. But that being said, I do have goals for hitting particular numbers of followers, and so those will hang out until I hit that number of followers. So there are things that I can do to make me appealing for people to follow me, but I cannot force people to follow me. So that is something that is dependent on others doing things, whereas the majority of these tasks are me doing those particular tasks. And so as you can see, I have gotten a lot done with goals 2 and 3, and I personally, for what my goals were and when I was planning on starting projects, I'm really pleased with what I've done with goal 1. As I said, I realized this past week that I've not fully addressed the issues of why I stopped writing last October. So I am reworking how I approach the story, and I need to spend some time thinking instead of writing. And so all of these, which are about writing, are going to sit up here for a while until I'm ready to get back to that particular aspect. And that's okay. I would absolutely love to take all of these sticky notes out of the to-do section and have them in the done section, but that's also not reasonable. I'm human, and so while it's an admirable goal, it is not likely to particularly happen. And so I'm trying to celebrate everything I do get done. And I will say the other thing is that I could have had a lot more sticky notes up in goal 2. I actually had this fairly full, but there were a lot of things I didn't know I would need to do until I started digging in. And this is particularly related to developing the YouTube channel. I knew at the beginning of the quarter I wanted to create a YouTube channel, but I was still in the beginning stages of researching things on best practices. And so I didn't know everything I needed to know at that particular point in time. And I've learned more, and so I'm enjoying the process, and I am looking forward to figuring out more stuff. And also related, I had no idea at the start that I would want to do the Patreon channel. So there are things with Patreon that I don't have sticky notes for because I didn't know at the beginning, and I just haven't gone around to writing those things up, such as I do a weekly public post on Fridays, and it's also available to my tip jar members, that it is thought for the week on a particular topic. And so I'm filming this on Saturday the 15th, and my post on Friday the 14th for Patreon was an update. I don't go into as much detail as I do here, but it's related type of thoughts, because it is mid-quarter this week, and that was the perfect timing. The other thing that I found and really started digging into is the content planner. So I did have an Instagram content calendar for September because I was familiar with the concept of content planning before I found Kat Gaskin and the content planner, but I am really digging into her method for content planning and process, and so I'm more energized than I ever really have been before. So that's something I'm looking forward to. So all of goal 2 was about learning new things, and I'm between goal 2 and goal 3. It was learning new skills and then also learning more about myself. And between these two, I cannot tell you how much I feel that I have grown as a person in the last month and a half, the last 6 weeks. It's just, it's kind of amazing to me. I would like to think that I was already well down that road, but the timing of things have just come together to I feel like I'm leveling up in ways that I could not have predicted at the beginning of the quarter. So, but yeah, so here is my Kanban board. So I have quarter 3 at the top, so that will change when I set this up for quarter 4. And again, each column is related to a particular goal. And of course, obviously different colored sticky notes. And then we have the to-do at the top, the doing in the middle, and the done on the bottom. Other Kanban boards will have the columns be this column would be to do, this column would be doing, and this column would be done. And the rows would be the different goals, projects, what have you. So you can customize your Kanban board any way you please. Like I said, I really like the washi, and it also allowed me to play with my laminator, because these little signs were the second things ever that I had laminated, and I discovered, oh, I have to do a certain thing so it doesn't get all completely messed up. But that is the Kanban board. So what am I changing moving forward? I talked about that a little bit earlier with goal 1. I am changing how I count time, because I actually really am more of a let's hit the word count for the day type of writer. And since I need to take time to think about the story, that spending an hour a day on it might actually be appropriate for that. But I may power through what the actual issue is in half an hour in one day. I don't know yet. But I also do know that hitting my word count for the day, an hour, is me hitting my max word count when I'm at my best writing. And that's knowing where I want the story to go and what my characters are doing, and I'm actually truly hearing the story. When I have a lower word count, even if I'm not at my best, it does not take me a full hour, because I am a fast drafter. I am not a fast author, but I am a fast drafter relatively. And again, like exercise, if you haven't done it in a while, you're not going to be at the peak level of fitness that you were when you were exercising regularly. So I have to rebuild my muscles for writing. And again, part of that is figuring out this amorphous emptiness of the middle of the story. And so I'm going to spend time doing that. And then hopefully once I get my breakthrough, it's not going to take me that long to be hitting my word count on a day-to-day basis. For goal 2, it's fine as is. With the addition of Patreon, I am perfectly happy with that goal. And then with goal 3, I'm not changing anything because I want to figure out what I am doing, what I am enjoying doing, figuring out what pain points there are so that I can minimize them, but also recognize them and honor them and work through them. So it is a process, and that's what all of life is. It's a process of working through and working to be better. And so no serious immediate changes mid-quarter, but things to think about as I develop my goals for quarter 4 of 2020, which is going to be towards the middle of September that I'll be working on that. And I'll do a video. And if you'd like me to do videos on anything else about this, please let me know. I'll be happy to. So why is this process working for me? I always thought I was a list person and taking tasks that need to be done and putting them on a to-do list and just checking them off. I have, for the most part, responded well to that type of thing. But as I have also been, as part of goal 3, digging into StrengthsFinder, I found out that the particular strength that is most associated with to-do lists and checking things off is my very bottom strength. So while I am a to-do list person, that is not something that I seem to like generate a lot of energy from doing. Like I have friends who that particular strength is achiever, and I have friends who are very high achievers in their where it falls within their Clifton strengths list. And they definitely put a task in front of them, checking things off. It is just, you can see them glow when they do that. Me, I'm like, all right, great, it's done. It's one less thing for me to think about. It helps me focus because I am also not focused as another strengths thing that I am not high in, but I am very high in strategic and adaptability. Adaptability is my number 5, strategic is my number 6, and the two of them work together. In fact, strategic really likes to get its fingers in all of my top strengths, and I can see it superpowering a lot of things. So even though it is my number 6 and falls outside of my top 5, it is absolutely one of my superpowers. And strategic likes looking at possibilities and so what can I do next? What can I do next? And adaptability is very responsive to, hey, by the way, this needs to be done. And so there's a lot of squirrel moments. So having a task list, that helps, that's more of a way for me to keep my adaptability in check and moving forward. So that is just a coping technique that I developed while I was a kid, frankly. And so like I said, strategic is up there and likes looking at all the various possibilities. But I also have futuristic in my top 10. That is another strengths theme. So my futuristic works together with my strategic to look into the future as to, here are the possibilities that I can be doing and working towards. And so they work in concert. And having the Kanban board and having all of this in that helps me look towards the future and seeing where the possibilities are. And again, because of strategic and adaptability, I can shift and move things as needed. I'm not required in my mind to adhere to the tasks and the projects and the goals that I set out at the beginning of the quarter and follow them to a T. That is not me. It's like if circumstances change, I can change with them. The review part is also really helpful to me because I'm a number 4 context, and context likes looking at seeing where we have come from. So having context, which sees the influences of the past, adaptability, which lives in the now, futuristic, which sees the possibilities for the future, all working together in my top 10. This is why this system works for me. There is no one system that is going to work for everyone. There is no one thing, but this works for me. If you're similar to me, it may work for you. In specific aspects might work for you. So you may find that you like the goal setting, but figuring out what your thing in the future, the lifestyle you want to be living in 5 years, that's just like, I know. But if you are very good at, it's like, I know I want to achieve this, then this may also help you. So if you know what your why is, use that instead of the 5-year vision of what your life is. Draw on what your why, like, I want to be able to support my family. I want to be able to pay off my student loan debt. I want to quit my 9-to-5 job. Quitting my 9-to-5 job is not a why for me. That being said, it's like I'm also like, do I have to do this all my life? So it's like that is something I keep in the back of my head as to what it is I want to do, what gives me the greatest joy, and where my ambitions are. So that's something I'm constantly reevaluating. But determining what your why is, knowing what you want to do to get closer to achieving what you need to support that why. And maybe it's just a constant achievement level. And that's how you set your goals. So figuring out what is going to work best for you and the way your mind works and what you respond to, that's how you find a system that's going to work for you. And so what doesn't work about this process is, like I said, I'm really bad at checking in and going back to the weekly overview of all this. And so I think I need to, in addition to setting out the weekly overview, I also need to do the daily overviews at that beginning of the week, if only to have my priorities set, let's say. And it is overall a system that works well for me. But I also recognize and accept that things could change, because it wasn't working for me the first couple of years that I tried to do it because of the mindset that I was in, and I was being very highly responsive to the moment of the situation that I was in at the time. And I kind of had to be responsive in the moment. And so a long-term, long-range planning system, even for only 3 months, was beyond me at that point, because I was just constantly letting myself be derailed because of this particular situation. And that situation is now over and done with and in the past. And so I feel more able to commit to a longer period of time and what I want to do in that longer period of time. So, but again, things can change, and this system may no longer be working for me as things change and my circumstances change. But I have also learning about myself through this process. So that is useful and beneficial to me. Yeah, so that is my mid-quarter update for quarter 3 of 2020 using the HB90 method. I will put all the links in the show notes in the description below. If you are interested in learning more about heart breathings, I hope you will check out Sarah's YouTube channel as well as her website. She is also runs a quarterly boot camp. I don't know when she is specifically planning on scheduling the boot camp for Q4, but I will have a link to that, and that will be an affiliate link. I have been through the program twice, both in its previous iteration and its current iteration, and have found it useful and definitely recommend it. And you get lifetime access to all of the videos and a private Facebook group, so there is a lot of value to the cost of the boot camp. And she also throws in the quarterly planner for that particular quarter that you are taking the boot camp. I will also include all of the other links that I mentioned, and Wonton in a Million, Simply Gilded. If you have a washi collection like I have, make use of that washi collection. Find interesting and new uses for it, because I have a lot. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you will consider subscribing. Also, if you would like to be notified of when I add new videos to the channel, hit that bell. And also please hit the like button to let YouTube know that I have content that has been great for you and might be great for others. I really appreciate you joining me. You can find me on Instagram at Crafting Ruby Dreams, all one word. I am also on Patreon as Crafting Ruby Dreams. And thank you again for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and may all your dreams be Ruby dreams. Have a great one.